Have you purchased fruit that just didn't seem right? Maybe it was rubbery or had a consistency or a texture problem that you just couldn't put your finger on? Apparently, you won't be the only one. This week, the Jackalopes will explore mysterious fruit. I'm Floyd Whiting.
I'm Aaron Linden.
I'm Steve Sisson.
And I'm Emmy Whiting.
And we are your Jackalopes. So a rash of internet TikTok videos came out. My wife showed me. And there was some odd fruit that started out, I think, somewhere around the south region of the United States. But then it's kind of spread from what I could tell. A lot of people thought that, many of these videos were doctored in some way, or it wasn't really fruit that they were playing with. But the fact of the matter is, it has spread. And people who didn't believe the stories before are now putting up their own videos of this strange fruit. So, you've done a lot of research on this one. And
a lot of TikTok scrolling. I don't know if you want to call it research.
No,
but
that counts these days. It definitely
we can
counts.
call it that. We'll call it surface research.
yes, there you go.
None of us here is what do they call him, a horticulturist or anything like that.
Well, I thought you were.
No, I'm the closest thing we've got. As usual, I'm the closest in the room.
With her par for the course.
We'll go to the expert.
Steve is the closest
speaking.
we've got to an expert on this. But, Emmy, how did you come across this stuff?
So it was just scrolling on TikTok. I originally saw a gal who had gotten a sandwich, and she started playing with this piece of avocado, and she was like, why isn't this breaking? Why isn't this bending? I don't understand, And to be honest, this video seemed like the lesser of like the convincing ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it did send me down.
Copycats.
Yeah.
TikToking.
It did send me down a jackalope hole of this fake fruit trend going on, and everyone's showing it. And it was just, so the one that got me was a gal on TikTok, Kiva Bodie _Bodie, I think. And she's a mom on TikTok, and her stuff, like, there's no sensationalized anything on her TikTok. It's just like her and her kids, it's not like
living life.
Yeah, it's not a mommy vlog. It's nothing like that. It's just, her life. Yeah. So it's kind of like, when you scroll on Facebook, you see people's lives and what they do, and that's what hers seemed like. And so she posted a video, and she was like, I was cutting up watermelon for my kids, and they kept bringing it back, saying they don't like the texture. So I look at it, because all of them did it. I look at it.
There she is.
And yes, there she is. But yes, so she starts messing with it. She's like, what do you mean you don't like the texture? And then it bends back and forth.
I don't like the texture.
That doesn't.
No.
Just looking at it,
That is not the way watermelon's supposed to be.
Yes. No, we just cut up a watermelon at home. I had like, how many containers? 5 containers of watermelon.
It made a lot.
But half of it's gone because I love it. But it is.
You wouldn't love that.
You just cut through it, and it is just easy to break. I mean, it breaks as you're putting it in.
Because it's watermelon.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So for it to be so bendy, it like gave me the ick, because I suddenly started like feeling it in my mouth. I was like, oh,
Like
that's
eating the car tire.
yeah. So then I start looking at all the other videos, and there's some people that are like, well, it's fizzing and this and that, which me and Floyd looked up, and it's more so like it's gone bad.
Right, it's gone
fermented.
bad.
Fermenting.
It's fermenting.
Yeah.
So those
They were
videos,
actually talking about watermelons exploding
yes.
Yeah.
in the store.
Yeah.
And then it happens.
Yeah.
I mean,
So it didn't, that one didn't get to me as much, but the texture did. And also there was videos of people just peeling that darker green off like paint.
Wow.
Like someone had painted the watermelon to make it look more like a watermelon.
And people were like, this gal was like, I wash my watermelon just because I don't know. I've always done it, And then she's like, but then it just starts chipping off.
Wow.
What is going on?
Dude,
that's interesting.
And there was another gal who had gotten blueberries, organic blueberries, mind
here
you.
We go.
And they were going bad. So she was like, okay, I'll just put them down the garbage disposal. So she does. And then she hears this noise. She's like, what is that? And she looks in there. There's a blueberry that's not breaking down. So she was like, what the heck? And all of a sudden it's like rubber. She can't even tear it apart. She's like, I don't understand.
Wow.
And this doesn't seem to be one big chain either. It's a lot of big chain supermarkets where people are finding this produce at.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that is just wild to me. So I look into it further. Some people are saying that these things could be 3D printed fruit.
Well, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Was that a whole batch of blueberries, but there was only one that was like that? That's really weird.
Yeah. And it might just be filler though.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't have enough blueberries, they're 3D printing these. And I then started looking at, there is actually 3D printed meat.
Oh, yeah.
And I just wanted to vomit. I was like, no.
This is the perfect setup segue for the whole thing. The whole package is coming.
Are you going to talk about 3D printed meat?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Because then I won't even bring up my article. But it was just, I mean... It's just
we're gonna put a video up, and it's got to come with a warning because you may never eat certain things again. Because literally, I watch this and I'm like, ugh. I'm like, oh my god, no.
Yeah.
And we'll get into some of that. But.
So that's one of the theories online. My personal theory when watching all of this, I just started thinking about how many microplastics we are
in
consuming.
The world.
Yeah, that was the first thing that entered my mind. Too.
How it can affect the produce we're eating now, because that is a huge problem in the world right now. Whether you want to believe it or not, we're eating like a credit card's worth of plastic every day.
Yeah, you think about all the synthetic fibers that we wear on our clothes. You wash that, little tiny pieces break off every time you wash it.
Yep.
Goes down the drain.
The pods. All the various pods that they make now. That contains soap.
How many Tide Pods have you eaten?
Yeah, that'd be a big zero. But,
okay.
Define
zero. I live with him. No.
Define zero.
How do you define eaten?
I like the fresh ones. The mountain breeze. God, that trend.
Tastes like ocean.
I don't know what the hell people were thinking. But anyway, the microplastics or the plastics that are used to hold that soap in, no matter what it is. Because I will admit, I have a dishwasher at home, and I use those little prepackaged things. You throw them in there, you forget about it. That plastic,
they work so well, though.
They do. That plastic, though, has to go somewhere. They say, oh, well, it breaks down in the water.
Biodegradable.
Yeah, well, on the molecular level, what is it doing? And on Emmy's point that we're eating a credit card's worth of plastic a day without even realizing it, they did a study. And when I say they, I don't want to misinform anybody, so look it up. They did a study on the sperm in men's testicles, and they found that everyone who volunteered for the study, all of these men had microplastics in their semen.
Yeah.
Now, you know, someone might want to like laugh at that, but like scientifically, that could be damning for the human species.
Absolutely.
Right.
If we think about, you know, reproductive problems that certain individuals are having in this country, that may be a link, because if men, I mean, every one, you know, a high number would be 75.
Right.
An astounding number, a surprising number, a concerning number is 100% of the men.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That means, like, if we look at that statistically, we're all infected with microplastics at the reproductive level. That has side effects that we are probably experiencing already and trying to find out what the hell's going on.
I think
what
we've
it
already
is.
seen like decreases in like population growth, just the number of kids that families have for multiple reasons, but that could be part of it.
Absolutely.
That could be part of it. And I mean, kids born with certain,
Issues,
defects and
Yep.
things like that, you don't know if that is connected at all. You really don't. I don't know that.
Well, if you give birth to a
But-
Lego baby, then you've had a lot of plastic and
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Just a
Painful.
little-
They're painful to step on. I can't imagine a birthing one.
Like, don't step on your children. Gosh.
Yeah, so I mean, there's long-term effects that we are only just starting to see, and unfortunately, this is the kind of crap way that we got to learn about this sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, for a long time, it was only one individual who walked around looking at everybody saying, "Stop with the lead.
Yeah.
Stop with the
Yes.
goddamn lead." And everyone was like, "He's trying to destroy the industry. Look at this man. I can't believe he'd go around saying that." Well, turns out that lead can kill you, and not only kill you, but it makes your brain function absolutely deteriorate. You know,
Don't eat the lead paint.
don't
Yeah.
eat the lead paint.
And if you're burning it in gasoline,
Yep.
yeah,
And that's the thing. Now we're just starting to study how these plastics affect our body. So, of course, they're going to find more and more
Absolutely.
things that are
like,
causing us issues in the long run.
yes, this is
Yeah.
only the beginning.
Yes.
You know,
absolutely.
because we don't know what everything's going to look like 50 years down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Someone could come along and say, "Holy cow, it's microplastics that are causing all these issues that, anxiety,
the
behavioral
microplastic
issues."
industry will cover that.
Well, see, and that's my thing, though. Again, more than likely, someone's going to come forward if they start finding evidence, and they're going to look at that person and go, "You're just trying to destroy the industry. I can't
Right.
believe
You're
you
a
would dare
tinfoil
do that."
hat wearing
Yeah.
conspirator.
And
Yes,
all, you
that's
know,
why we're talking about it.
or they look at you and they say things like, "Oh, you're woke and you just want everyone to go green." No, this stuff's poisoning us,
Yes.
and we should take a good look at it.
Absolutely.
And adjust the industry, not destroy it. Adjust the industry to stop making these things if we do
Or
find that
make-
this is the issue.
A biodegradable option.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Something
Yeah.
that we can consume and it's not going to harm our bodies. And also, that's not going to harm the planet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or is it?
Let me get into this little article just real quick before I let you go into what
My
you're going to talk about.
Craziness.
The meat.
Okay, so the meat,
Ooh.
and I'm just like,
it really did have an effect on me. Just thinking about it.
It's disgusting.
See, we're
So-
in Wyoming. We're beef people.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's like when you see fake meat,
it makes you want to go
no.
vegetarian.
And again, it's not like, I come from cattle folk, so it's like I don't trust anything else
Yeah.
but that. I
Yeah.
just don't feel comfortable.
So this article is builtin.com, which I've never heard of. So, take it with a grain of salt. I don't know, but here we go. Made out of lab-grown stem cells, 3D printed meat is an edible rendering of a meat-like product created from an additive manufacturing process. And layer by layer, 3D printed meat is constructed from a bio ink
Bio ink.
that extrudes out of a 3D printer nozzle.
Yeah.
Extrudes from a nozzle.
Foul.
This meat is delicious for being extruded from a nozzle.
All things considered, it tastes really good.
As far as nozzle meat goes,
Right?
this is top dollar.
Honest to God.
These protein-packed prints replicate the look and mouthfeel of conventionally farmed butchered meat down to a cellular level.
Nope.
Mm.
To the point where they can be considered quote-unquote genuine meat by the Good
Okay.
Food Institute.
Yeah, it checks all the technical on paper boxes.
Yeah.
But when you look at it,
While being highly customizable and slaughter-free.
What does that mean?
I want my meat with a spoiler.
Seriously.
Paint red flames on the side.
I want the camo skin meat.
I want some of those wheels that turn, the ones that
Yeah, the
spin.
spinners.
Can you put my kid's picture on it for his birthday?
God, man.
Foul. Anyway.
Customizable meat. Make it taste like blueberries.
That could very well be the future, though.
There's blueberry sausage that I've had, though. Delicious.
There was a guy who hunted
fine.
a bear that had fed primarily on blueberries that season, and the meat was purple, and he said it was the greatest meat he'd ever eaten in his life.
He ate the bear?
Because bear meat's not great.
I'm not going to eat a
sweeter
bear.
meat. It's
Greasy.
I'm not running out and harvesting bear on a regular basis, but yeah, you can eat meat. Yeah.
Well, make it taste like blueberries that taste like blueberries.
Right, not the rubber ones.
Because GMOs, genetically modified organisms, is a living thing whose DNA has been altered in a laboratory using genetic engineering technology.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go and you look at produce or meat or whatever, and it says GMO, I run freaking screaming. Like, I don't want them altering the DNA. So I don't know if your Frenchie loves fruit or not.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, it does.
Right. So Babette loves fruit. She's like a fruit bat. She'll go out into the garden and eat strawberries.
Babette is Aaron's Frenchie.
Yes. Shout out, Babette.
Daddy loves you.
So we get blueberries. She loves blueberries. Call them sugar nuggets. And there's
Sugar
like
nuggets?
a great treat for her.
Yeah.
So I'm just randomly cruising through the store. Now, this is quite a while back because I've completely gone insane. But and I'm like, oh, sugar nuggets. I got to get some for us and the dog, whatever. Pull these things out. And they're this big. I mean, they're huge.
Big berries.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, Babette, come on, sugar nugget. She comes running over. I go to feed it to her, and she goes, and I'm like,
really? She wouldn't even eat it?
I go, okay. Throw it in the old mouth hole. No taste and disgusting texture.
Interesting.
And I'm like, what the hell are these things?
Yeah, I gotta say, when a dog won't eat it, it's pretty serious.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
they lick their own butt.
Especially French bulldogs. They will
Especially
eat
Frenchie.
anything.
Just about
Yeah, they're not known for having a discerning palate.
Anytime I've given him anything to eat, he just sucks it down.
Yep.
There's no second thought.
Like it's the last meal they're gonna have.
Yeah.
Not do it.
Our other two dogs, they're like very picky. So if you give them something, unless they see Hugo eat it, our Frenchie, then they want it.
And he's like Mikey from the Life cereal commercial.
Yeah, right.
He eats anything.
So everything, if you really look at a lot of products, from your bread to especially something that's pre-made, GMOs all over the place. And I can't help but think, I mean, walk into the store and I'm seeing lines the size of lemons now.
Yes.
And they don't taste right. So I go down the Jackalope hole into PLU codes. So those little goofy stickers that are a pain in the ass, and you got to pull them off of your fruit and vegetables. So the different types that you'll see on the PLU sticker, there's 4-digit codes, like in the 3,000 and 4,000 range, and those are actually not grown organically. They're conventional, which means synthetic fertilizers and or pesticides and or GMOs were used. Now, if you get a 5-digit code starting with an 8, it's organic, but that doesn't mean true organic. It's actually, it can still be used with pesticides, fertilizers, whatever. If you get a 5-digit code that starts with a 9, it's 100% organic.
Okay.
So guess what I buy?
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah.
9 only. Yeah.
9 only. If it doesn't have that, I don't do it. So the blueberries are this big, and they taste like blueberries.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like real good old fashioned freaking blueberries. I don't know what this shit is that people are eating.
Yes.
But the big difference is you look and you go, okay, tub of blueberries, $6.
Mm-hmm.
Tiny thing of blueberries. 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can literally get double to 3 times the amount for less money, but it's crap. Maybe it's printed. Maybe it's all GMOs. Maybe, who knows what the hell it is? And it's crap, but it's cheap.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the thing with the price of groceries now.
Yeah.
You
Right.
have to think that way. What's the most cost-effective way of buying these blueberries
Right.
or buying this produce?
Yep.
Because I mean, that's what we have to do.
Yeah. How do I get more for my family?
Yeah, I've known people that,
Yeah.
they used to take a lot of time looking at ingredients, and it's just like it's not that important when the prices are that high.
Yep.
They kind of just
Right.
push that aside and just look at the price.
And they keep saying that they're going to go down, but with these places making record profits, of course they're not going to go down. They're never going to go down.
No.
They just wait long enough for us to get used to it.
Right.
We've talked about that on the show before, and it was a while ago, but we have talked about how, at first you get the ticket shock where you're like, Jesus, I'm paying $9 for a beer. And then 3 years down the line, that's just the
That's
cost
just
of beer.
how it is.
Yeah, or it'll
doesn't
go
matter.
up to here and then down to here, and you're like, oh, good, it's gone down. Yeah, everybody's happy.
Yeah, it went down a quarter.
Gas
when-
prices do the same thing.
All
They
the
go
time.
to $4 and it's down to like $3.50. You're like, yay!
And then you're happy
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
But it's $3.50.
Well, so I've had the avocado that bends.
Ugh.
Tastes disgusting. Get an avocado. Starts with a 9 prefix in the 5-digit code.
Yeah.
And like when they're ripe, they're I mean, you get it all over yourself because
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
they're squishy.
Yes.
Almost. I mean, that's like where guacamole comes from, right? These
Exactly.
things. I cut this one up, and I'm like, what the hell? And so I had like a taste of it, and I'm like, this is disgusting. I'm gonna let it ripen and see what happens.
Never did.
Forever.
Yep.
Stayed the same color and same consistency.
And that is also something that people are bringing up in all of this. They're
Yeah.
like, it's not ripening.
It's not ripening.
going bad.
And avocados generally, you let it sit on the counter for like 3 days,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, it's no good.
It's
anymore.
gone.
You look at it the wrong way.
You look away,
Yeah.
you go to check your phone, you come back and it's spoiled.
It's brown.
Yeah. It was good 2 seconds ago, but
Right.
the moment passed.
Is
So-
avocado a fruit or vegetable?
Yes.
Great answer.
So that then gets me into a peel. You guys know about a peel? See? So basically, a peel is an invisible coating made up of purified monoglycides and diglycides. Edible fatty acids commonly found as natural components in the peels, seeds, and pulps of fruits, vegetables, and other plants. The company uses this on food products such as grape peel for wineries. They then use the grape peels and press out oil rich in fat lipids, which then turns into colorless, odorless, tasteless powder that manufacturers just add water to and apply as a spray, brush, or dip. When applied to the produce, the coating works to mimic the natural cuticle layer developed by many leaves, stems, fruits, and flowers as a form of protection. And it dramatically slows the rate by which the product spoils.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If that's not like gross enough and scary enough, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's backed by Bill Gates. Enough said. But the weird thing is people are like, well, just wash it. Well, the crap doesn't wash off.
Yeah.
And then
No.
when you cut into it, it pushes it in
Right.
to this. And shouldn't things naturally spoil
But
over
still,
time?
wash,
I mean,
wash your fruit, rinse
Oh,
your
you have
fruit
to.
because all of the pesticides that are on. Yeah.
there's videos of that.
And not even that,
too.
just everybody at the store going,
Yeah,
I
right.
don't think I want that one. I don't think I want that one. So, I mean, who knows how many people, I dropped
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Back up on the,
There is a surprising amount of human beings who do not wash their hands.
Oh.
It is foul.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many. Okay. This
Wait,
is
wait.
a little TMI, but how many men I have dated that they didn't have hand soap in their bathroom.
Oh, at all.
well,
And I'm like, what is wrong with you? That's a
Water's clean.
requirement.
Yeah. And I pass it under there. I wipe on my pants. It's good.
Yeah.
So it's the idea that all of these individuals who don't wash their hands, they feel everything.
Yeah, they're all checking it
They're
out.
all
They're
over it.
picking the
They're
one they
touching it.
want. Yeah.
And like Aaron said, there's folks walking by that fruit stand, coughing with their mouth open, not giving a
Oh,
damn. Yeah, I'm washing my fruit and
Mhm.
veggies, man.
But
Yeah.
with this video and some of the other ones that I'm going to have Shref put one in that's going to come with a warning because I don't know if you have heard of spaghetti meat. And not
I
like
have.
delicious Italian sausage in your spaghetti. Spaghetti meat refers to a muscular defect known as myopathy.
Mm-hmm.
It's caused chicken meat to unravel and splinter into soft strings.
Mm.
It's been contributed to decreases in connective tissue strength that holds the muscles that are normally bound together, causing this, what they termed firstly, mushy breast.
That is so
Doesn't
gross.
sound delicious at all.
No. And it was first identified in a 2015 study. The reason they call it spaghetti meat is because it has the same kind of consistency and comes off the chicken.
So I
like
will
pasta,
tell you,
like rude pasta noodles.
there is a place that I was getting our meat from at one point, and they changed their chicken because their chicken had always been really good.
Right.
But they changed it, and I don't know, because before I think they were getting it locally, and then after that I don't think they were anymore. And I know exactly what you're talking about because I was cutting up the chicken. I cut the breast in half.
Yeah, butterfly.
And then they were just peeling off
So
of itself.
over time, this is from many months ago until now, I had the exact same
Yeah.
situation. I was butterflying a chicken breast, and I was like, what the hell is this? It
Mhm.
was disgusting. The video that we'll put up might make you dry heave. It's disgusting.
Did you eat it?
So I grilled it,
Yeah.
and I had like 3 bites, and I'm like,
See,
there's something not right
Yeah.
about this.
we did that too. There was no flavor,
Right.
even though like I season my chicken very well, and there was no flavor, and it was just like the texture was wrong.
Right.
And so I was like, I will never buy my meat from there
So
again.
this condition is food safe. It's edible.
But it's foul.
But why are they allowed to sell that and not say, hey, you know what, this is going to be kind of weird meat?
Yeah.
We eat a ton of chicken. So I've started going to a local little meat market where it's organically. And I sound like a whack. If you would have told me freaking 4 years ago that I'd be like some sort of granola munching organic eating dude, I would have been like, bullshit.
Yeah.
Here I sit, because it's 100% different. So I went and bought, it was a 1.2 pound chicken breast, locally sourced, organic, threw it on the grill. Juiciest, most delicious.
Yep.
And when chicken doesn't taste like chicken, when everything else tastes like chicken, you got a
Yes.
problem.
Yeah.
And this one, though, was amazing.
Mhm.
I mean, so good. The blueberries were so good. The avocado so good when it's good stuff. But
Yeah.
again, it's one breast, $5.50.
hmm
I can go to a big box store and get a tray for 10.
Yes.
Right.
And I will
So
say
that's the issue. Is it if you're buying organic stuff, I have noticed a huge uptick in the grocery bill. Like huge.
absolutely.
But I've never felt better in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worth
So it's
the money and it's worth the hype, but the problem is they don't make it accessible.
but that's the thing
Or-
is it's not accessible to
Yeah.
a lot of people. Where you're going, I need 10 chicken breasts.
Right.
Because I have a
Instead
large
of
family
2.
that I need to feed. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Well, that's why they are always, you shop around the outside of the store
Mhm.
because all the crap's in the middle. But it's so different when, the strawberries from the garden taste like I remember from a kid when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Now you find these strawberries and they're the size of a
They're
freaking
huge.
baseball.
They're huge.
and they don't
it's
taste
so-
like anything and their
yeah.
texture's gross.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So
or
all
they're half of them are moldy and they're already,
Right,
and
yeah,
half of
yeah.
them are good, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
these
But
are put
there's
together though.
It's just sad that there's a ton of people in society running around going, oh, yeah, strawberry. Like, no, it's not. That's not what it tastes like.
When they first started genetically modifying foods, a lot of it had to do with genetically modifying certain foods to prevent pests,
Mhm.
to
Be more
ensure
resilient and resistant.
that against storms and things like that. Now, I'm not going to say the company's name. It's easily researchable. But it was all about corn.
Oh, yeah.
This country that we live in, corn is to the United States as rice is to the Asian nations.
Mhm.
Everything we have
Is corn.
is corn,
Yep.
baby. And we have genetically modified the corn stalk because corn's a grass. If you saw real corn, it's not very big. It's pretty small. It's a grass seed. So we have changed corn to be the grain that we have now through genetic modification. And even now, it's gone way past what I probably think the original, scientists thought it would ever be. When it comes to meat and chicken and things like that, steroids are used to make breasts bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you were to eat a chicken from 1892 and compare it to what we have now, you would laugh at the size of the chicken breast.
Right.
You'd be like, how is that going to feed me? They actually aren't that big, but we've modified them through breeding, through steroids to make these breasts huge, to make drumsticks gigantic, to try and get it bigger and bigger.
Oh,
and
for Renfen.
wow, that's giant. Big old turkey legs, man. Yeah. But it's the idea that sometimes corporate greed outweighs ethical practice.
Absolutely. Wow, what a concept.
So
What a concept.
it's if you're going to buy it, I'm going to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the way this country operates.
and-
There's no ethical practice anymore behind some of these larger companies. The United States operates on an economy where I don't owe my public anything. I owe my stockholders everything. And as long as the stockholders are okay with it, I'm
look
good
at
with the practice.
high fructose corn syrup.
Mm.
Look at it's in
Everything.
everything. I mean,
and so is
everything.
sugar. I mean, just generally,
just
sugar
generally, yeah.
is in everything we eat.
Well, even I would rather have sugar in my products than high fructose corn syrup.
Right.
Again,
Yeah.
it's the
That's always the
corn.
Do you remember those commercials that were like, this isn't bad for you?
Yeah. Well, 9 out of 10 doctors recommend Camel cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff. There was one, too, Kent cigarettes way back in the day when they were talking about the fact that it could maybe lead to cancer. They actually put into the cigarettes an asbestos filter.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Oh,
To help out.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
To
No
filter it.
way.
So I mean, they're always doing crap like this to us.
Yeah.
And where are you gonna get food? You're gonna go up to the mountain and pick blueberries? Well,
Yeah.
you're gonna spend more energy doing it than you're gonna consume.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You got to buy this.
Yeah, you have no choice, really.
But
Yeah.
you look at chicken places, and you know what they feed a lot of chickens? Chicken. Like the dead, diseased chickens. That's their food. So
well, that mad cow disease.
Yeah.
Right,
The
exactly.
infection
Right,
of
yeah.
mad cow disease is so here in Wyoming, we're suffering from something called chronic waste disease in our deer.
zombie
And-
deer, by the
Yeah,
way.
zombie deer.
It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. We may have lost an entire herd to it, actually. But what it does is it's a folding prion, and it literally kind of makes you crazy.
Mhm.
It's highly infectious. And the first time I can remember hearing about mad cow disease, it was in England,
Yes.
where it got really bad.
Like the 80s?
yeah, I
90s?
wanted to, maybe early 90s,
90s,
somewhere
I think,
around
yeah.
there.
Okay.
But
It's
what?
been a hot minute.
But again, it was the practice of a cow died. We grind that cow up and feed him back to his friends.
Which is so icky. That just like makes
I mean, it's
me
one of
so
those, like,
But that's
sad.
most chicken.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
horrible practice. I completely agree.
I mean, it's totally fine with Kit Kats because Kit Kats, the stuff in between the wafers, is ground up Kit Kats. That's okay.
That's all right.
fine. I'm okay with that.
That one will let fly.
Just
Yeah.
feed it to your Kit Kat. Yeah.
But it's the idea that, like, now if that particular animal had a disease, every animal in that fed out of that trough has a disease. And so
And also, again, that's
I will
not
say I
ethical.
don't think that practice is lawful in at least in England anymore. So and I don't think it is here. And primarily just for that reason, mad cow disease can spread in this way.
Mhm.
So I do believe, you'll have to double check me, but I do believe that practice has been made illegal.
Just for cows, apparently.
Yeah.
Well,
Poor chickies.
what are they feeding these avocados?
Well, when I was a little kid, I went to
Plastic.
an egg farm, and this was a local egg farm where I grew up. This wasn't like one of these great big operations, okay? This was just a local guy. When I was walking through, my mom and I were choosing chickens to take home, and there was probably 3 to 4 chickens per cage. The cage was probably, I don't know, 2 by 1 by 3 at the absolute most.
Right.
And these chickens had never left that cage. And they're just stacked. And when they lay eggs, the eggs roll back, they hit a little pike, and they roll down. So it's easily, gathered. We took the chickens home. We laid them in the coop on the ground. And I said, Mom, I don't like what's going to happen. And Mom said, they'll get their strength. You just got to give them time.
This makes me want to cry.
Now, but the thing of it is they do, they start to figure out, but they literally kind of have to remember how to walk,
How to be a chicken.
how to be a chicken, because they're kind of jammed inside this little cage, and they just peck at whatever comes at them, and that's how they eat. So, and drink. Certain practices that have been in place, are cruel to an extent, in my opinion. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I am here to talk about is the idea that now we take these animals, we throw steroids in there to try to produce more, to get them to produce more. And we're changing these things over time at a molecular level that, much like the plastics that we've been slowly putting in to our environment, these things are now in us. We are eating this. And I know that there's a, YouTube after channel after YouTube channel of people saying, be mindful of what you eat. Massive investigations that resulted in great documentaries like Food Incorporated. Fantastic. If you haven't seen it, I would suggest you do. Information in it is a little old now, but still relevant. But it's the idea that we are changing our animals, and thus our animals are changing us. We've lost that relationship with our food. We always hear about food deserts in these large communities where, you guys were talking about people don't have a choice. I have one place where I can go and buy food within the next 20 miles, and so I have to get my food there. That's a little alien to us here in Wyoming, where we can literally go to a butcher shop that has been here since the 1800s, and they're still doing the same thing now that they did then. It's a little more expensive, but it's totally worth it.
We're lucky because all of the beef that I eat, I know the guy.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the chickens,
We're
I
here
know
at
where
the
they come
source.
from.
Yeah.
I saw the animal
earlier.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, we're really lucky that way. You go and you get the pink sludge in the tube.
Yeah.
One, it's covered in microplastic to keep it fresh.
Right.
Yep.
And that's not a cow.
Yeah.
That's 1,000 cows ground up and the pink sludge pushed through the thing and into a tube. It's 56 different cows. You don't know what the hell they pump those things full of. This guy doesn't pump them full of anything.
They're out there
we're
eating
super
grass.
lucky that way in that we're in the middle of nowhere, but you know where your cow came from. You know where that chicken breast came from.
Yeah.
But you go to big places, man, like I said, if you would have told me 5 years ago, I would be that guy. Sitting here talking about this stuff. I look at the eggs and I'm like, cage-free, raised on the prairie, had a smile on their face. Like, I'm that guy now.
I'll make sure your Greenpeace card gets sent to you.
Well, but I mean, you have to be. If you have the opportunity to be, then we should.
But dude, there's so many people though. They just walk through and they're like, boot this, boot that.
Well,
and
again, the pricing is a big point.
It is. Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that.
If you have a family, you're working 2 jobs, you got to feed your family no matter what it is.
Which is true. But I will tell you this: I used to be able to like sit down and eat, good couple chicken breasts. I had half of the one last night. Way more filling.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the better the food, the more satiating it is, and the less of it you need.
Absolutely.
So if, I don't know, it'd be interesting to do, but if you put a price comparison to, okay, we're going to buy this for a week as opposed to the other stuff, how much less you would eat if it weighs out in pricing.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird. But yeah, I'm the guy that now walks into a grocery store. I'm like, that's the organic section? Are you kidding me? You know, like, what happened?
You're all barbarians.
Well, as the closest thing to a horticulturalist and all that here,
Yes.
Our resident expert.
a couple things that come to my mind. In addition to microplastics and that kind of stuff, I would guess that rubber watermelon is not a new phenomenon. It probably has been happening for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the differences is probably that in 1975, when that happened, a woman cuts into it in the kitchen. She's like, this is weird. She brings her husband in. They look at it, and that's kind of weird. She might tell her friend next door about it, but it doesn't go any further than that.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't go viral.
Yeah, and now somebody makes a TikTok, and 1 million people see it in 24 hours, and then you have 12 other people making a TikTok pointing at that video, and it becomes its own viral thing. So now you have,
Or they're like, oh my gosh, I got this too. And here we go. Like, yeah.
and so it may create the impression that it's happening more often than it actually is. But I wouldn't doubt that it is happening more often. Something that could be a factor is just the drought conditions, climate change, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When a fruit has to fill with water to become plump and juicy, and it doesn't get the opportunity to do that, and they do the artificial ripening and all that stuff that they've been doing forever, I think the combination of those things might result in weird fruit like that.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's talking about like the difference between this food and that food. I had a very large garden for a while in my life, and the biggest difference for me was we had a variety of different tomatoes. But I could go out and pick a tomato, and even though it wasn't as big as a softball,
Yeah.
Right.
I could take a bite out of it, and holy cow, the flavor!
It's dramatically
it
different.
shocked me.
Tomatoes
And
especially are dramatically
especially
different.
like you.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong; it is pretty when you chop open a tomato and it just looks perfect, right? And you can lay that on the sandwich, and it looks great, but it has no flavor to it.
Well, and real tomatoes. If you've ever had a real tomato, not out of the store, out of a garden,
when you actually pick it off the vine.
and you cut it, it doesn't stay together.
no, it doesn't.
No.
They go all over the place.
It's
No, they don't.
everywhere.
Yeah, they go everywhere. Yeah.
And there's the craziest part about this whole thing is there is a whole sect of society that's like, yeah, that's a tomato.
Right.
Like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Like you don't cut a tomato and stuff doesn't run out. Like that's not a tomato.
That's why all your friends who have a garden go taste this.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Taste this.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
exactly
you got to
right.
taste it.
Yeah.
All of us are like, yep, that has happened.
Yeah, because and it's not just like, oh, look how great I am. It's look how dramatic
Yeah.
Yep.
this difference
Yeah,
is.
it's going to blow your mind.
It's going to blow your
and
mind.
a sense of pride with I grew this.
Well, yeah,
you know?
sure.
Well,
Like,
and
I think that's
it's
a great
weird,
thing.
though, even in growing your garden, the difference between tomato seeds and heirloom seeds
Yeah.
that haven't been jankied with.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference. I mean, you get the big Tom tomatoes or whatever. The heirloom ones are bigger, juicier, better.
Mm-hmm.
So you even have to like look out for your seeds now.
Yeah, true.
Yep.
So as we look at this trend in food, you know, and the economy being the way it is, the thing that I would suggest is this. Going forward, and I'm not the first one to do it. That's the part that gets me. It's not like I'm saying anything new here. Support every farmer's market that you
Oh,
can.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they have good prices at farmers
Yes.
markets.
Go in there.
Yeah.
Buy your produce from folks that are growing it in their yard. You know, when it comes to yards, and I know a lot of homeowners associations are going to hate me for this. I love grass. Okay, I want everyone to know that right off the bat right now.
Grass lover.
I love. He's a greenie too.
He's a grasshole.
I love grass so much that I had someone send me grass that I could grow when I was in the desert because I like to pluck up a couple blades, roll it in my hand, and smell it. And it was something that I missed so badly that they made sure that I had some. It was one of the first things I did when I got home. I have grown 2 full yards, which are still to this day beautiful, out of dust. I love grass. But as we move forward in this economy, as we move forward in this world, plow it under. If you can, plow it under.
Mm-hmm.
Grass and large swathing yards are an invention of the French royalty to show people I have so much influence and power and land, I can waste it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That is literally what a lawn was for, a show of opulence. If you can, and I've known people who've done this, plow the grass under, plant a garden.
Mm-hmm.
Plant your own garden, grow your own food, give it the old college try. If it doesn't work, if you're like, I don't have a green thumb, okay, fine, man. Throw some sod back over top of it. Next year, don't worry about it. But plant a garden. We have to get rid of these food deserts.
Our house instead of
absolutely,
rent,
we'd have a garden.
Definitely have a garden.
My garden used to be huge. I had a very large yard. You could throw a football clear across the yard. And I mean, really give it the old hump, and you'd
the old college try, you say?
The Uncle Rico pass.
And you'd still be in the yard. So half of that was turned into a garden, just right then and there, man. And we grew everything you could imagine, and it was great to be able to do that. I had way too many turnips and
it's like
beets.
zucchini.
Oh my god!
That's
yeah.
why everybody's like, here, have some.
Take some, please, my god.
So
but
good.
it's the idea that, there was a big sense of pride in that too, because everything that I had, I could, we were jarring and all kinds of stuff.
Although weeding sucks.
Horribly.
I don't mind it.
I'm in that.
Yeah, it's a significant time investment,
Yeah.
but I would say it pays off.
Well,
Yeah.
that, and if you kind of treat it like a meditation,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
not so bad.
Yeah.
Well, garden therapy. You hear a lot of people talk about that, and there's something visceral and primal about getting out there and getting your hands in that dirt,
Yeah.
Right.
and smelling it, and it works, and
Well,
it's
a few years ago,
great.
I talk about having too much. I had Roma tomatoes like
And you didn't
probably.
share?
Oh, this was like 4 or 5 years ago, I think.
Okay.
But, like,
before your time.
big paper sacks. I had 8, 10 of those
Mhm.
full. So I'm like, I'm making salsa. So because I had onions and we grew all this stuff, make salsa, learn how to like can it, and everything. I'm like, this is gonna be great. Gone in a week.
Yeah.
Kids ate it. We ate it. Company come over.
Yeah.
They'd eat it. I'm like, I spent all that damn time.
And but see, that's the thing though. You spent all that time growing it, you spent all that time making it, and it was gone before you know it. So that itself is a testament as to
so
the
good.
quality of that
Yeah.
salsa.
So good.
I have seen individuals just eat homemade salsa, no chips, just a spoon, because it's basically, in a way, it's like specially pickled vegetables,
Yeah.
right? It's preserved vegetables.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they'll just sit there and eat the salsa.
Oh, so good.
So before we get too far ahead of ourselves, you had a video?
Well, I'm gonna have Shref put it up later
He doesn't
afterwards
make
because
us
I
all
don't.
dry
Yeah,
heave
I don't
right now.
want to.
You don't want to see it?
Aaron
honestly.
literally
Okay.
cannot watch it again.
If you're gonna spew into this.
Right. It's so gross.
It's a great movie.
It's so gross. And maybe as a bonus, we'll throw in. Have you seen him making fake lettuce?
I just now have.
I just showed him.
It blew my mind too. Yeah.
It is mind blowing. Now, the whole thing behind that is they were saying they're making fake lettuce and selling to stores for consumption.
Mm-hmm.
I've read other things that said that it's baked for photo shoots.
Yeah.
And, if you want grandma's
Right.
fake lettuce sitting on
Because
the table.
something
kind of
that's
thing.
interesting is watching advertisements and how they fake those things.
Ice
Oh,
cream
yeah.
is mashed potatoes.
Yeah. There's almost
right.
it's
Yeah.
almost never what it purports to be.
Yeah, but it looks like
And
it.
how many
Just-
times have you
Talk
ever
about
gone to get like
mashed
fast food and you're like, I didn't look like
Yeah.
the picture.
The
out
picture
there.
is not even close.
Yeah.
Not
because
even
it's all
close.
plastic in the TV.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it might be all plastic at the
It might be.
restaurant.
Unfortunately, it might be.
It might
from
be.
the sounds
They're
of
getting
it.
closer and closer to matching.
Oh,
Pretty soon they will look like the menu, and then you got to.
I don't know. I just look at what you're buying, and if you get one of these things,
Post it.
Make a video.
Make a video,
Yeah,
man.
like,
Talk about it.
Because
Talk about
I
it.
Talk
didn't-
about it.
When I had that avocado, and it was probably a couple of months ago. So I mean, this hadn't really even, I don't think, was a thing. I'm not on TikTok, but I was like, what the hell? And I was kind of like the people in the 50s or 60s. I'm like, well, that doesn't look right. I'll leave it here.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, it's not doing anything. Garbage.
and forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But after that, after the blueberries, after the chicken, I'm like, screw this.
I would go as far as to say, tell others where you got it.
Or even
Right.
go back to the store
Mhm.
and be like, listen, this isn't right.
Yeah. Yeah, because they probably don't know. I mean, when they're unloading the truck, it
Yeah,
probably
it's
looks
not-
fine.
It's not like the box boy know what's going on.
Right.
He's just
Yeah.
doing his
Pallets
job.
So
of that stuff.
tell them
it
maybe they
doesn't-
won't support the company it came from
Yeah.
anymore if this is a continuous issue and they continuously get these reports that this fruit or vegetable is not good.
Yep.
Oh, I saw that there's a video of the individual who was injecting coloring into the watermelon,
Yes.
and
Hey.
that was disgusting.
At least
Like,
with
come
nozzle
on.
meat, you know what you're getting. I mean, there is that.
Do you though?
It's highly
You know what?
customizable.
I think that's a great end. At least with nozzle meat, you know what you're getting.
It absolutely is.
Sisson approved. Time tip.
Nozzle
Jackalope
meat,
meat.
the meat of the future. Nozzle
We should
meat.
make a fake commercial.
Oh my God, I would love that. That's
Just
our new
Jackalope approved.
sponsor.
Nozzle meat.
You've been watching Jackalopes Explore. I think.
Unlocking tales we find, mysteries from ancient times, rubber fruit and strange designs, hidden secrets in our minds. Jackalopes explore the night, conspiracies come to light, alien shadows in our sight, whisper truths we can't rewrite. Solar war and sky so high, space weapons reaching for the sky. Planet X they say is nigh, reptilian stories can't deny. Jackalopes explore the night, conspiracies come to light, alien shadows in our sight, whisper truths we can't rewrite. Solar lord and sky so high, space weapons reaching for the sky. Planet X they say is nigh, reptilian stories can't deny. Jackalopes explore the night, conspiracies come to light, alien shadows in our sight, whisper truths we can't rewrite.
thank you, Lord. And we thank you, Lord, now your butcherless, and we put you through the forces, and to the mystic well. Butcherless will break the spell. Dive into the mystic well.